And we should be back now. Here we go. Hey, everybody.
Hey.
I think we should be okay now.
Okay.
My microphone levels say that I'm picking up okay here. But you'll have to let me know how it sounds. If it still sounds like garbage, then I'll have to figure out something must be wrong with my computer then, because I don't know what it would be. There's all kinds of technical things that can mess up when you're doing live things, especially because I seem to be able to jinx it all. You know, it could be a curse and a blessing at the same time. Anyway, what we were talking about. Oh, we were talking about our experiences as being that player.
Yes.
And I also put in a caption here. What was your worst experience while playing board games? So, Joseph, you go ahead and start. What was your worst experience you had while playing board games?
I think I want to say really worst games, but I know that I had a friend who was playing Settlers of Catan, and and this was like right after this is right after I got into board gaming, and my older brother got me Carcassonne, and I introduced it to one of my friends. He loves it. He loved it, and then I showed him Catan, and he wasn't a big fan of Catan because of the luck element. He kept on rolling dice and he wasn't able to do anything. And so he got really frustrated. And I just felt bad about it because it's like, I want him to have a good time. And unfortunately, he didn't. So that was probably, for me, one of the worst, I don't say worst, but disappointing experiences.
Okay, huh. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Now, did that
Mm-hmm.
put him off board games for forever, or what?
Oh, no, no, no. He's still a fan of board games. It's just not, no, he's not going to play that game again. So it's not something that it took, you know.
Yeah, it could be tough to be, especially as newer players or newer to a game. Um,
Mhm.
just knowing that sometimes the odds are not ever in your favor. And that's real life anyway, but sometimes we feel like the control is gone when we roll dice. But part of that is just, not every game can be like chess or checkers where you have a technically infinite number of combinations, but the strategy is purely under your control. Um,
Mhm.
so many elements that are fun in tabletop games are randomness. But that can be tough. But you were talking earlier about Werewolf. You had a bad experience at
Yes.
Werewolf.
Well, just in the same thing with Mafia. I'm not a big fan of getting eliminated right off the bat because all you're doing is sitting there and watching other people have fun, and to me, that's not really fun. That's why when it comes to party games, I'm a big fan of simultaneous play mechanic, where everybody's always doing something at the exact same time, and something happens to everybody at the exact same time, like the Resistance, or like a new
Mm.
one, Bloodborne. So I think it's Bloodborne. So there's a lot, or Mysterium. So you have a higher
Mm-hmm.
player count. You have more things happening to you at the same time. So to me, that's more engages all the players and takes away that this feeling of, oh, I'm not involved at all. So what's the point of me being here? And I just don't like players wasting their time when it comes to playing the board games.
Yeah, that's a good point. I
Yeah.
think ultimately an issue that everyone deals with at some point, and sometimes some people deal more than others, is sportsmanship. I know Adam from Tabletop Minions actually released a video recently. He said he was surprised about um, basically why sportsmanship is considered kind of above normal, I guess. There was a
Yeah.
gentleman who played in a sportsman-like manner in a tournament in 40K, and we it seems odd that that would be surprising. Like, I would think that the default is having good sportsmanship, but I think part of it comes down to the way that our culture views our entertainment experience.
Yeah.
A lot of folks don't play board games or tabletop games purely for the social aspect. A lot of times you do it for other reasons.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
It does. And also, I'm a big fan of sports myself, and I played baseball.
Hello? Did you knock the laptop? I swear, they keep knocking the laptop, or someone will come in and accidentally touch it, and the thing just kind of dies. We'll see what happens. I think I can take off where Joseph was talking about. Wait, let me boop him first. This is the second stream in a row I can boop somebody. Boop! Time for a new laptop. Boop! but so he was saying sportsmanship. The object of a game is. Let me see if I can switch to my own view, or maybe we can just. I'm just gonna leave him there. I'm just gonna leave Joseph there and let him boop. He touched the butt. That's funny. Sportsmanship is no matter what, no matter if you win the game or not, then you basically have to be a good sport about it. The essence of the game is having competition, but at the same time enjoying the competition. And the best way to, the best way ultimately that we've discovered over the eons of playing games together is that you play it in a good, well-intentioned manner. That you're gonna have fun. You're gonna play the rules honestly. You're not gonna cheat. That's why we have penalties for cheaters. But that's the extreme, right? The extreme thing is to punish. Oh, I guess, yep, he definitely dropped. Whoop. Let me just look. That's our software. This is how we. Let me show you inside this. This is how we set up things. So there's the audio settings here. And then I have a screen capture for the other things. So there's all these different settings in here that can bring up. So for instance, if I do change a webcam setting or something like that, or I can change the station ID and turn it off and on. And I can switch to different modes like here. And then this would show off like the side of my screen if I changed it to here. Bam! Now you can see a light up there that's hitting me on the side. And then there's on either side is the end of my beautiful backdrop that I use for photography in this video stuff. So then all I would do here is I would do this, and it's always fun to see the inside of how things work, isn't it? It's always exciting. I would configure my little video settings, and then I would end up zooming in on me a little bit more. Like that. Something like that. And then I would sit over here, maybe move the light over to where you can't see it. Bam! Like that. And now it's just me talking to you. How cool is that? So that's your inside look behind the scenes, so to speak. Well, thank you. I appreciate that, Thomas. Fillers are always nice. I'm reading the comments here in case you ever pause and look down somewhere. It's also me reading because my computer is a little far away from my eyes. Even with glasses, I feel like I need to get new prescriptions. Yeah, I think that's the case. So I like to see the comments right here. Once he calls back, we'll get him back on. But where was I talking about? We were talking about sportsmanship. So with sportsmanship, to me, it's really the case of like to avoid being that player that everyone like doesn't necessarily want to play with. It's what about your intention? Because your intention, and I teach kids in dance and whatnot. So when I teach the children's how to go into their dance lessons with a good attitude, I say, what do you want to get out of it? What do you want to accomplish from the lesson that you're taking? So for instance, if you're in school or in university or whatever, if you're learning something, what is the goal of you wanting to do that? So when you're playing a board game together and you start to feel, for instance, negative about the experience, first take a second and step back. Like think, why am I feeling this way? What is it about this situation that I am feeling awkward, or like I'm feeling like angry about something? And then take a second and examine exactly what that is, and maybe talk to the people. Be like, I'm feeling angry about this right now because this just happened. Then you can sort of feel like what triggers you to feel angry when you're playing certain games, because your intention of wanting to win might override your sportsmanship of the overall experience and of your social experience. And if that's the case, that's okay. It might be best for you to then look for maybe a group that's highly competitive so that is your dynamic with each other. But a lot of times when we're playing and, the need to play with a group at all, like with me in Cincinnati, it's a little bit harder to find a group to play with. So when I'm looking for a group, I can't really be that picky. Luckily at Giga-Bites, we have tons of groups on Facebook, so you can join any group and find a niche that you like and play a game that you want. But that ultimately, I think, ends up being what gets you. That it's a desire that's outside of what accomplishes good feelings for everybody. I think that makes sense. I think for some reason in my brain that makes sense. I'm not sure if that. Let me know if that makes sense to y'all. Yeah. So basically, if your intention is, I want to have fun doing whatever with a group of people, then eventually, no matter what happens, whether or not you mess up a rule or you play a game completely wrong, which happens with my family, we'll play an entire game for like 2 hours and realize that we completely messed up how something was supposed to work. And that's okay. because ultimately that your point is to have fun, right? So you might decide that you don't like the way that a certain rule works, and that's what house rules. That's where they come in. So if you notice that maybe someone is having a bad time, they're starting to like their experience is starting to turn negative. Notice it in their breath is the first thing that you can notice. If their breath stops, they'll start to get like red face. That's what happens when we start either perspiring or our blood pressure raises. So you start getting a little bit more red, rosy cheeks. You start getting tense. You lift your shoulders up. That's all body language stuff, right? Then the eyes, look at the eyes. If someone's like, and they stop breathing, and they start getting like, you feel like their energy just like starts going like this, that means that something is causing something in their limbic system to react. So it's not a frontal cortex, where in the frontal cortex you're thinking about things. So you're doing math, you're doing any number of thinking activities with did he call back yet? No, he didn't call back yet. No, it says he's online. Huh. Joseph, call back. When you're doing frontal cortex things, then you don't have a lot of those like chemical reactions in the body. Your adrenaline doesn't go, etc. But as soon as something reacts into our lizard part of our brain, then someone starts feeling very weird, right? And so whatever that is, you can pause the game for a moment, right? So if maybe someone's rubbing in a victory and the other person's getting irritated at that. Okay. If you notice that that's happening, say, "Hey, guys, hold on. Let's chill for a second here. Let's figure out what's going on." Maybe the person that's being that player is the one gloating and not the one being upset. Maybe that's the case, right? Who is causing the dissension? Who's causing the issues? And then you can sort of deal with it that way. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. Yeah, I hope that it makes sense. If you want to avoid being, I don't know, what do y'all think about that? Like, take some time to type it in the comments. Is like what you've experienced before, because ultimately this is a group effort, right? So when we do these live streams for Giga-Bites, we want to make sure that groups come and play. We want to have events. We want to have a great time, because playing games is awesome and fun. So why not? Let's have a great time. And with things like this, we want it to be teaching moments. We don't call anybody else out, right? So I'll call myself out, or maybe I'll call Joseph out. Maybe one of the other employees. No. Nope. Just me and Joseph. Whoever's on the stream at the time. But other than that, the whole purpose is not that we tear other people down. It's that we lift other people up, right? So board games is a fun way to have a good time. Let's have a great time. Let's play with each other. Let's support each other. If someone's starting to have an issue, or they're taking the game too seriously, or they're abusing a system or something like that just to win, versus making sure that everyone enjoys their time, maybe think about how you approach that, right? So how would you approach another player causing an issue? Maybe they're unconsciously taking advantage, or they just are omitting, let's say in 40K, you forget to mention the stratagem that you're using or something like that, or you forget to use a command point to use that stratagem. And so how do you kindly remind someone? What if they're like a habitual abuser, so to speak? That doesn't sound right. No, that doesn't sound right. Maybe they're habitually doing something that's not, good. I'll use that phrasing. What do you do? Like, how do you go about making that better? So y'all, I'm going to read you. Yeah. Makes sense. I like to think that's something I'm typically good at picking out. Not so much good on fixing it at the time. Yeah, so I'm wondering, how do we go about optimizing that? Because ultimately, you can call out bad behavior in a nice way. You can say, "Hey, look, if you're not having a good time, then you can take, if you can relax maybe, or I don't know, maybe," because I've done that before to varying degrees of success. It depends on the person you're talking to, because social dynamics are always difficult. But in my experience, and someone else, please, give your experiences as well and what works for you, so we can help each other out. But I've noticed in my experience, it's important to note that whatever someone's goal is, right? It hurts to say that their goal is wrong. Yes, that's good. If you tell someone, "Hey, stop doing this," or whatever, or "You're ruining it for somebody else," that can make them feel like their purpose is invalidated. So it's kind of a careful ground you have to walk on. I've noticed that a lot, especially when I teach the kiddos, because sometimes they'll be joking around and they'll be like teasing somebody, and you have to be very careful when kids are having a good time and they're maybe one's bullying the other and they don't realize it. Like they're just like, "Ha, you're so stupid." And you're like, "Well, okay, you don't just want to say, hey, don't call them names,' because then the kid will be like, no." I'm gonna definitely have to record that for later. No, but when you're talking to adults, it's a little more difficult to call it out in a way that's like a teacher, right? Because we're friends, we're peers. I don't think anyone can say from an authoritative perspective like you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. But I think it's okay most of the time if someone's really getting agitated to be like, let's take a break, let's take a 5-minute break. If you're Giga-Bites, let's go grab some beers, let's go grab some food, and chill for a couple of minutes, and maybe resume after that and figure out what's going on. Because I'm feeling some tension here, maybe. That makes sense? I think so. Habitual offender. I like that, Thomas. Habitual offender. As soon as Joe's back online, we're going to get him back in here. If he'll come back online. Let me start the call here and see if he'll respond. The call to voice and video. Ah, tech stuff. This is like the third stream in a row where tech things have gone crazy. Yeah. Oh, I got the Orlok gang from Necromunda, and the models are fantastic. I really like them. I'm going to deck them out very similar to my cultists, and I might run them as like, I don't know, their own 10-man squad of cultists. One dude, the leader, has a freaking power fist, and it's like a 2-fingered power fist. Has anyone ever played Abe's Odyssey or Abe's Exodus? It's like that hand. Like, Abe put his hand in a power fist. So I don't know why it has 2 fingers. That's a design decision that I'm not sure about. If anyone knows any background on the Orlok gang, you can let me know. Otherwise, they look great. There's also a harpoon gunner, which looks cool. And what someone suggested, after I glued all the arms onto my Orlok gang, all 10 of them are all glued together, someone walked in the store, and then he said, oh, yeah, nice Orlok gangs. I just finished magnetizing mine. I should have magnetized all the arms so I could customize it when I'm going into battle, so I don't have to have all 10 exactly the same every time. See, it's the little things that you really forget to think about sometimes. Man. Oh, now my brain's going crazy. Star Wars Legion is going to be amazing. We have players that are 3D printing terrain. We've got people who are we've already got a shield generator from Hoth. I think they're going to set up the Hoth battle, and I would love if someone can bring a big old AT-AT to the battle. We can figure out some custom rules or something like that. March 8th is when it starts. The demo days and whatnot, the demo for the game, and the models look gorgeous. If you haven't been a part of the group, look up Georgia Star Wars Legion or Atlanta Star Wars Legion. You can look it up on Facebook and join the group, and then you can see the photos that people are taking. Matthew, who is one of our Giga-Bites players, he's already started painting the AT-RT, Stormtroopers, Rebel soldiers. They look phenomenal. I'm so pumped. March 22nd cannot come soon enough. So happy. Yes, Thomas, the store, it's actually my laptop, but it's a little bit older, and I think it's been bumped one too many times. I think someone booped it on the nose, like too many times, and now it's sad. And then sometimes it'll get caught up in a restart. Windows does like the 3-hour-long updates, but it will not do it at like 3 o'clock in the morning. It'll wait till it restarts after it crashes, and then you have like a 3-hour update after that. So I wish I could get Joseph on a phone on here so that he could just phone it in, so to speak. Wow, that's funny. Phone it in. But you could live stream from his phone, and I could talk to him. Maybe we'll figure that out later. There is an app, but I don't like the way it looks. Kind of weird to me. It's called Be Live, but I prefer kind of being able to make our own UI. It's much more fun. What else? Oh, new website, y'all. New website. It's gonna be really freaking amazing. I'm making a lot of videos for it. If you've ever wanted to get someone else into tabletop gaming, this is going to be the way to do it. Because instead of you having to explain every detail about tabletop gaming, about RPGs, miniature wargaming, collectible card gaming, board games, That's already a lot at once, right? You don't have to worry about it. Just send them to gigabytescafe.com starting March 1st, and then they'll be able to peruse, view articles, and every section, there's 4 major sections, and each one has what the game is like, right? So what board gaming is, how do I get started in board gaming, groups that Giga-Bites hosts that do board gaming, or events at Giga-Bites, and then events are the 4th thing. So no matter what, if anyone's ever interested in like 40K, you can immediately send them to our website, start them off on step 1, and then they can go from step 1 to step 2 to step 3 to step 4. So step 2 is super important for people who are trying to figure out the logistics of how to get into wargaming, because a 40K army is not the cheapest thing in the world. It's also not like going to break the bank, right? Depends on who you are. But it's, for most people, you kind of budget out and build your force over time. So it'll basically explain how to do that. So if you want a small unit army like Custodes, or if you want a swarm army such as the Tyranids, this article will help people figure out how they can go from not having anything to eventually building a solid tournament 2,000 point list. And that'll be an example of 40K, but that example will be able to explain every other game. So every game basically has list building, right? They do it in different ways. So if they have their own way, there'll be a link to that game's method of list building in the article. Make sense? So then you never have to like force somebody into the store and then say, before you know anything about it, come look at all these boxes. Or you have to look at the table for it. Let them watch a video, they'll see it in action, and eventually, if they like it, then you can invite them to the store, and that way they've already experienced a little bit about it. Neat, huh? Cool. I think that's about everything for now. So if you are looking to be not that player, board game player, or if someone else that you're playing with at the moment is being that player, then simply stop, pause for a moment, and say, let's chill out, y'all. Let's play in maybe like 5-10 minutes, or we can find another game to play or something like that. And the cool thing about board games is that there's so many of them. You can always choose more. But that's it for now. The laptop, I think, is still dead and down for the count. So that's quite a bit of information I threw in the last 5-10 minutes. But I will see y'all again later this week. I know we have our usual streams on Thursday and Friday. And if you have any ideas for additional types of shows, we're going to stick with Monday, Thursday, Friday for our live streams. And we want to add like one shorter, like 5-minute video for YouTube, a pre-recorded one, and then maybe switch out Monday's content. But just let us know what you want to see. If you want to see more live streams of games, we're going to always try to do that on Saturdays during events. But just comment or message us and see, hey, I'd like to see this kind of content, and we'll try to make it happen. So thanks, y'all. I'm John Caspian for Giga-Bites TV, and I'm going to see y'all couple of days for sure, and I'll be down in Georgia in March, mid-March, so looking forward to that, and have a good one, y'all.